So today we're going to go through a 3000 catalyst pump, do some troubleshooting and a major rebuild. So let's get started. Some of the things you might see if you get any kind of catalyst coming out of the top of your packing nut. This will happen over time because of the wear and tear of the pump shaft going up and down. So we're going to first start off with that. So we're going to take the bottom of the catalyst pump off, which you should be able to unscrew by hand. Set that aside. You can unscrew the packing nut from the main body. Pull that up. Then you have the liner. You should be able to use your finger and push that up and out. Set that aside. So you have a liner that has been honed. So you don't want to pull the pump shaft up and out. There is a cross hole right here that you could have a chance of nicking the O-ring that sits on the bottom of the pump shaft, the upper ball housing. So what I recommend is taking this top out. You should be able to use it on the table, just kind of push it out. You use it on the edge of the table and it starts to get out a little bit. Take the hitch pin, wiggle it out. You should be able to take the pump shaft top off and then take your packing nut right off the top. And then you should be able to pump the pump shaft through the bottom of the cylinder and out. So we got the pump shaft out. You can take a look at the packing nut. So the packing nut consists of a scraper that has an O-ring, silicone, and a Teflon, and then it is packed in with a seal. The easiest way to get these out of the nut is you get some pliers. You'll have to throw it away after, because once you damage this, they're no good. And then you'll see the scraper that fits right inside. You should be able to knock it out. See how it's starting to come out? If not, you should just be able to push it out a little bit. So you can see that you have your silicone O-ring. Right inside, and you got your Teflon. So you want to start off with putting a new one in, and then putting the Teflon O-ring on top. And then you should be able to slide it in. Just as so. And you want the Teflon O-ring pointing on the top side of the nut. So you should be able to see the white Teflon first, and then the silicone. Then you got your seal, and you want the metal end down. Now there is like a little groove, so you want to make sure your seal is all the way in. So it's not going to be flush. It's just going to be indented just a hair. And that is the packing nut. Let's move on to the pump shaft. Now these are a little tricky. There is a dowel pin that holds the upper housing to the pump shaft. You can use a little pick and push it out. You can see it. Now be careful because these just fall out on the floor and you'll never find them. There also is a ball inside the upper ball housing, and that's it. There's no springs or anything, so you just make sure you don't want to lose that dowel pin. Now, like I said, over time you'll have to replace your O-rings. This is one of our difficult ones. Since this one's good, I'm going to show you this one. This one had a nick in it. Straight. there. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to use a pick and get underneath it and pull it down. And it comes off just like that. Now you do have a Teflon O-ring that sits behind that. So you can take that off as well. We're just going to replace it all. Alright. Since you already have it out and apart, might as well just take care of the whole thing. So we're going to put the O-ring back on. I'm going to show you how to put the other O-ring on over top of it, because that's the tough part. So we got that O-ring on, and then we have a brand new O-ring. So this slips on. You really only got one shot at it. So I usually just put it on, then I use my fingernails. I kind of just slide it on over top of the silicone O-ring. And I go one side and then I'll go to the other, and just like that. You want it to sit inside those two grooves. And usually right away after I do that, I'll put it right back onto the pump shaft and put it in the cylinder and let the cylinder form around the Teflon with this O-ring here. So put the ball back in, get the pump shaft, put it in, get your dowel pin, and then it's just trying to find the hole. And there you go. Now make sure those are good and flush. You don't want it scraping up against the side of the cylinder, because it is honed. Alright, now that's in. You want to always go up through the bottom. So I'm going to put this on and just push down. Put my finger up. And then you should be able to, in an upright motion, hold your finger on the bottom and pull this pump shaft up, and then let your finger go and you should hear suction. Alright, now you know our ball is sitting well. Now, as far as O-rings go, you have one in the top, number 21. You have one on the outside, number 20. You have one in the inside, right there, which is number 19. These are all very important, especially the one in the center. It kind of gives the liner its seal at the bottom, and then it seals at the top. So you got 1, 2, and 3. And refer to your schematic as far as the sizes go. You got one on your cylinder as well. And once you got those all on, you should be able to put the cylinder back into the pump shaft body and push it down. Usually just use a ratchet or wrench to push it down a little bit. It should be somewhat flush. Doesn't have to be too perfect, because once you put the bottom on, it will all level out. Now, at the bottom of the catalyst pump, you have a ball, spring, and a retainer. So let's pop these out. You see them all here. Spring, ball, and retainer. On that side, the bottom of the catalyst pump, you got a ball seat. You can see it down there. It's actually a Teflon or silicone O-ring that sits just on the edge and the inside. So we're just gonna pop this out, and you can do that by just flipping it over and hitting it on a hard surface. But you know, I want to do concrete because you don't want to damage a catalyst pump. So I usually just get a rag and I pop it out. I'm not going to do it too hard here, but this will be your seat. Now there is an O-ring. It sits right in this groove. Once you put that O-ring on, you can pop this in, put the ball in, and then with the, I usually use the bottom of the pick, I just push it down until it clicks. And you can put the ball Back in. The spring, you want the small end down, wide end up. And sometimes it gets a little crooked putting it in, so I'll just use my pick. Straighten it up, and then you have your ball retainer that just sits in the bottom there. And we can hand screw this back on. Like I said, you shouldn't have to use any wrenches on this. And you want everything to be nice and straight. If this is somewhat crooked like this, sometimes when you put this in the retainer, in the bottom of the housing might have shifted, so you might have to just shake it a little bit and just get it to go straight again. Okay, now that we got that on, we can put our packing nut back on. This should be really easy, it should slip right on. At first, after changing out your O-rings and seals, it might be a little hard to put this on because it's so tight. What I usually do is I just put it down on a flat surface and push with my hands and try to get it as even as possible. You want to look at the top, make sure you don't see any pieces of that O-ring. Maybe you got nicked by the cross holes or the top of the pump shaft. Just want to look inside to make sure nothing came off, nothing got cut up. Then you can push this down and turn with your hand. Like I said, you don't want to use a wrench on any of this. You shouldn't have to. The O-ring seal itself. And there's that. I'm going to pull this pump shaft up a little bit. Alright. Now we can put on the eyelet. Just match the holes. Put your hitch pin back in. And the flat surface. You should be able to just pop that right in. There we go. Like that. And then that's it. That's a major rebuild. If you guys got any more questions, you can give us a shout. But this is the basics. Hope this helped.